Wow, it's red hot here at the moment. UK weather, you just get acclimatized to lower temperatures, and by the time you do that, you get a big peak in temperature, and you gotta get acclimatized to that. Let alone the high level of humidity. I think that's why we're doing relatively well, though, with the collapsing down the, hopefully, fingers crossed, this pandemic. Although across Europe, uh, Boris Johnson was talking about a potential for a second wave if people aren't too careful. But you know what the media is like. They put a headline as if there's a second wave already in the UK. There isn't. There are spikes here and there. Um, Regardless of that, anyway, going back to the project, Exploratory Minds. I've had a lot of back end doing different things. Trying to run a Teespring shop or something else, but not really that up on how. Anyone who's an expert in that, put comments below, because I think it wasn't Teespring, it was something else. I forget the name of it now. Because I want to put merchandise up for like you just have a logo, Exploratory Minds, writing, a symbol, maybe a bit like here, a symbol here, or something that's different, like whichever. Working on a few things. Put in my PayPal email address for the monetization of it, and it didn't accept it. It is a PayPal. I don't know what's wrong with that. Then there's forms to fill in if you're outsourced, if you're not in America, or with different ones. I don't know. Anyone else is from the UK, put comments below on what you did to get yours running. But I'll find out. I may be slow with some things. You're not really that academically minded, but I get there in the end. People might think I am academically minded because of running a website with the ability to be like a social platform. People can blog. People can post events and get paid for via their PayPal and all this. Although I've done a huge amount of reworking on that, it's open source software that was already done. And anyone who boasts about code, I've talked about code here and there, and I tweet about that here and there. Code isn't the thing these days. It's really data. If you're boasting about code, you're just showing off. But I'm proud of what I have learned. And I'm proud to have this website, and I'm glad people are using it now. You get a small handful via the whole week of people coming and going. One or two of them won't come and use it for a couple of months, and then they'll pop up and say, "Hey, how's it going?" So they haven't forgotten. But there is this thing, out of sight, out of mind. Hence a live stream as well, and you'll have different things up there occasionally. And I will be getting round to doing shout outs on the live stream. The audio, you'll hear a shout out. And I think well deserved shout outs to Lil Red and lifting the veil, is it? We got the green face avatar. You're doing what I think is well deserved towards exposing Jason Smith. And the only way to do that is have a bunch of people on to talk about his projection. I've talked about projection on the other channel when my earlier videos talked about shit going on with accusations aimed at Steve and Cheshire. None of it, of course, it never is. None of it could be backed up, and I thought it was really vile and disgusting. For one of the ones I pointed out, Cheshire was accused of bestiality, and of course, how did you come up with that? Just because you see a dog owner petting their dog like any dog owner would. That means the individual was thinking that in order to come up with it. You know, the one who accused. So who's likely to do that? It's pretty fucking sick, if you ask me. Regardless, moving on, I would like to have done more myself, but you're doing the job that I think was needed to expose Jason for the asshole he is. I don't know if he... I'm trying to get my head around the level of projection, and Boolinator, you made me laugh when you said it's been 6 months or more now. People want their projector back. Yeah, and rightly so. He immediately talks about himself without knowing it, seemingly without knowing it. That the level of projection is way above any of the other haters, even though these other haters do project a shitload. Jason does it in real time, though. You know, it's phenomenal. And I don't know, there's a book I bought from... I work in a retail store, discount store. Not going to say which one, there's many of them in the UK, because I know what these assholes are like in their love of doxing people. But I bought this on my shelf, just in the window, a book on psychology. And, you know, Exploratory Minds isn't just about the mind. People might be forgiven for thinking that, because I've come across with this very analytical pick it apart of the idiocy of these individuals, and they deserve that. And people have praised me for what I've done. It doesn't mean I'm 100% correct, but I think it's resonated with people, because I pointed out what seems to make a lot more sense as to why they're doing this. You know, they are that low in self-esteem, so they've got to, rather than deal with it, you go and blame somebody else, blame the world. It's everyone else's fault, it's not theirs. It's too unreasonable, but sometimes you need to be a bit unreasonable to succeed in life, but you don't have to be so unreasonable that you convince yourself via some warped fantasy that you're always right. You think you're always right, you're always going to be, eventually you're always going to be wrong. That's what Jason's problem is. He thinks he's always right. Even if you're always wrong, a broken clock is right twice a day, you know. But even the broken clock at this point would be more trustworthy than Jason, I think. It's phenomenal. It just blows my mind. Regardless, anyway, you know, I just felt like just gonna pop on today, do a quick video. This is how the EM Network channel is, and if you look at the Exploratory Minds channel, I've done what I said. I started what I said I was gonna start for our next subject matter about plastics, and you know, the secondary. Well, probably there'll be another video, then there'll be a third one talking about 3D printing biodegradable materials. 3D printing is also using things like hemp material now, and the way I've treated it, it comes out like a plastic, but it can be broken down with virtually no ill chemicals and ill side effects coming out of it. It's a big leap in technology, I think, if money can be put into it. What I want to look at is who's funding all this. Is there enough people funding it, and the names of the who, what, why, when, and where. You know, if Jason, if you're watching, that's research, not pulling shit out your ass just because you want more clicks and you've bought subscribers again. I digress. I'm talking to an idiot anyway. So, you know, what the fuck? And it's utterly disgusting on how he's jumped on this hate bandwagon to cause drama over certain individuals that have had personal life issues that are no fun at all. That's all I'm going to say on that. You know what I'm talking about. Every single person Jason's collaborated with is suddenly a troll. CW Chanter, Phoenix something or other. These are names. They're all on the shitpile list. Let me have a look. These names. It is phenomenal. And every one of them, he starts off okay. As soon as they say, oh, you got something wrong here, let's go over it, correct it, he has a fit. That level of narcissistic mindset is off the chart. You know, it's worse than Kyle Curtis, believe it or not, I think. And Jason, be careful you don't get done for defamation of character. And how the fuck, you know, again, I think I've talked about comparisons and differences between European culture, particularly British culture, versus American culture. I'm not anti-gun or anything like that, but you can carry weapons and guns in... Well, you can in the UK, believe it or not, but it's more complicated than that. Most people don't, because it's more complicated than that. You can own a firearm. However, in America, you can go into a store in a lot of states and get a weapon, and suddenly everyone's really nice to each other because they don't want to be shot because everyone's weaponized. But what is underlying? What's the true self really like? I'm as raw and real as I can be. I try to be as real as I can be online, but there's many aspects of me that you will not ever see via the internet unless I change opinion on that and feel safe enough to tell you any certain aspect about whatever, perhaps something about my past or what I'm about to do or the present. Regardless, in the UK, like I've seen bar fights here and there. Nobody's got any gun or anything. The knife crime is a bad thing in the UK. We're obsessed with knives over here in the UK, and you know, I like knives. I like to buy. I used to have a collection, but I sold it. I think it's just a psychology thing. You think you need some protection because of most people realize there's a lot of idiots around. I'm not trying to condone weaponizing yourself for physical harm, but I'm condoning protecting yourself. Believe it or not, you're allowed to own a crossbow in the UK. You just go and order one, no license or nothing, but try to carry a crossbow around with you. It's cumbersome, it's obvious, but you can do a shitload more damage with a crossbow. But I'm talking about the psychology of this again. I keep falling back onto that, and it's no wonder I called, I just realised something about myself. It's no wonder I called exploratoryminds.com exploratoryminds.com. Kind of some projection on my behalf, not knowing too much about myself, but I have a lot of insight as well. Self-analysis, I think. Is it good insight to myself? It's both good and bad because everyone has a bunch of bullshit in their life. Going back again to weaponization. If Jason behaved like he does online in a bar, I know some bars he would end up with a bunch of people beating the fucking ever-living shit out of him. They would. They really would. And I'm not trying to condone that. What I'm saying is, if you're all weaponized, you wouldn't risk doing that. Does that allow his mindset then to say, oh, I can get away with this anyway, even if they dox me and find me, they can't do nothing? Because, you know, perhaps he's got weapons anyway in the house to protect himself. When there's a fight in the UK, it's real and it's bloody. You know, when there's a bar fight, it is real. People don't fuck around with the certain individuals that I know. That is scary. It is really, really scary. And this is why the internet is a very, very dangerous place. The next time you attempt to try and piss somebody off, be sure they don't live next door to you, you know? And why should you be doing that anyway? What, just because you're jealous that somebody's got more views than you? You know, I'm trying to make it clear here, I am not condoning violence. I am not trying to make threats. I am not about threats. I wonder, put a number 1 below in the comment section if you think Jason is a ex-drug addict or perhaps ex-alcoholic, that he might have had a problem there. I think he is. Why else would he, because we know that how much he projects, right? Everything he thinks about and puts out there isn't a created perspective on a possibility or a theory. It's just him talking about himself. It doesn't come out with anything new, really, other than it's creative in some aspect to accuse everyone else that they're doing something which is really what he's doing. Put a comment number 1 below or a 0 below. 0 for he's not an ex-drug addict. Yeah, number 0 for no. No drug history, no alcoholism. Number 1 for yeah, I believe he did. So that's my poll there. How's he come out with Busy the character, piece of bread? Who is a crack addict? I'm just saying it's only a theory based on the repetitive, predictable pattern that he has in talking about himself all the time. That's what is there, already out there, in order to back up my claim with some validity, context to clarify. And thank you, Steve's group, for using those words. It is important, and I think the most important thing on your 5 C's is context, because all of the others fall apart when people get too emotional. If something was said out of context that was really quite harmless and put into a context that made it seem really bad, which Jason does all the time, and people can hear that and they get emotional, they get reactive, and critical thinking goes out the window. A need to clarify goes out the window, because when people are emotional, they don't stop and wait to clarify or attempt to ask for a clarification. They just respond, our tribalistic, primitive side. And I do think, really, unless we practice and stop ourselves with almost every thought, really, that we have as a race, with, is that right? Whatever your thought might be. Is this sensible? Is this logical? What is the likelihood? Then we're always going to default to the just emotional reactive side. It's the You know, the emotional side, I think it needs to be there because you can have good emotions as well. I wouldn't crush it. I wouldn't hate. I'd hate for my emotional side to disappear because there's good emotions there as well. But when it's drama like this, you don't want. People don't want that. So as you see on the live feed, if you wanted to join Exploratory Minds, there's a blog inside. You can write an article, you can left align your text, right align, bold, put your background in, whatever, just like a blog article. And once you post it, it comes up as an article in your profile. It gets posted on your wall. People will click that and they can see what's going on with that. And you can do multiple ones, and it just comes up separate articles rather than articles within a blog. But it's a way to, it's separate from your normal posting because it's more manipulative. You can use it in ways. You put your pictures in, your videos in, embed videos, and so on, right? And we will pick, I say we, it's me and two others. Occasionally a third, another one will help out if I ask them, but they're busy. The other two are busy as well, so it's mostly me. And it's very hard to push this out there with just one person because they have a day job as well. And that's not a complaint at these individuals to have helped me, because they're lovely individuals. They really are, just like Steve's group. You know, they're wonderful people, really, because they have that passion to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Jason doesn't understand that concept at all, and neither do any of his trolls that puppeteer him. You know, he's so fucking dumb that I recognise now why people use him as a lolcow. And, you know, projection, he's accused everyone else of being a lolcow. They dump some information at him that is all bullshit, and he just regurgitates it, adds his little bit of extra bullshit to it, and it's a snowball effect. This is what conspiracy mind does as well. So you start with a tiny ball of snow at the tip of a mountain, and you let it roll down. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, imagine it's not snow; it's just shit. You end up with a big pile of it at the bottom, and Jason's just so entwined into it. He's rolling down the hill with so much momentum that he will end up in a shitload of trouble at some point. I guarantee it. It's going to happen. From who? I don't know. When? I do not know. How it will go down? I don't know. But it will go down. And even then, he'll be blaming everyone else for it. Just like Kyle Curtis, his fantasy or superiority will fall apart and implode at high speed when reality slaps him around like a slab of concrete right in the face. It's going to be a heck of a knockout for him. It's going to hurt shitloads. That's why, really, I am not really inclined to do many more videos mentioning him, but I'm not saying I won't, because, you know, you always get that, I want to get this off my chest, that off my chest. I have a project here to run. And like many others, they feel like they shouldn't even bother him because he's such a fuckwit, an idiot, a loser. But he leaves his shit on the side of the road for other people to clean up after him. But don't worry, because I mean, if you keep exposing him, that's brilliant. Please do. the bigger the exposure and the longer the he fucks up, the longer the shit pile playlist gets as well. Because I keep finding videos to add to that list over and over. Every single person he's ever met. Again, let me get to the playlist and I'll give you some names. Unirock's shit pile. I'm not responsible for the videos on this playlist. Some of them are actually from me, but these are multiple people. Phoenix Enigma. Now, I don't agree with everything Phoenix Enigma says. I think it's sort of way off the beaten track of anything that could be verifiable. Some of it. However, I don't know that for sure. He might actually be on to some things that are legit. But he has the same problem as everyone else has with Jason. And Jason accused him of things that he really has not done. He's put words in his mouth and so on. Jason does it to everyone. C.W. Chanter. That's two people who some of you may know nothing about, but somebody called Pandas Taste Good did a video on his idiocy. Narcissism Illustrated did a video on his idiocy. LARP Walls, I think that's Defango. Defango, I think you're really cool. I do watch some of your stuff. Awake News. Awake News is talking about Unirock bully tactics cause a suicide with lots of question marks on it. So I don't know really. There's no way to know for sure. It's something that was put out about his fuckery as well. This is why he needs to be exposed. You know, most of it is just silly nonsense, but some of it he can do some serious damage that he has no idea the level of damage he's doing. He's evil as fuck because of that, and he claims Steve's group and anyone who supports him. Myself, I support Steve. He's a cool guy. And Cheshire, and Cheshire is that time of the month. All of you, you're fucking brilliant. I can swear on this channel because it's not monetized. Defango, Random Rants of Ryan, Roosevelt Media News. You know, all of these names, the point is, all of these individuals, every single one of them, are pointing out the exact same pattern that we're all pointing out about Jason. He has this fundamental problem. Anyone who's first found Jason at the moment, pay attention, you know, just be well aware that he is this asshole who looks for groups who are successful to cause drama, to try and bring them down so he can rise up via competition regardless of the content. He wants those donations, those views, and he still ends up trying to play catch up via buying subscribers. Look at his Social Blade. You'll see when he has a peak in subscribers, it's always 100. Not always, but often. Later on, he loses 100 exactly because they're not natural growth. It's not natural growth expansion. You know, it's not real subscribers. It's not real people. It's fucking bots. You know, servers and machines run that he obviously pays for, right? I can't prove that, but again, he accused everyone else of it. He accused Steve of it out of the blue. or just because his numbers were kind of somewhat matching suddenly, or Steve's were matching with. Steve doesn't give two fucks about a huge amount of subscribers like myself. What he cares about is those subscribers that interact as a community, individuals that support each other. You don't have a community if you've got a shitload of subscribers that don't give you anything and allow you to help them as well. You don't, all it is just hot air. As I pointed out in a previous video, some videos back, and it caused the worms to come right out of the woodwork. Several comments below, as predicted. It was so fucking easy because they hate the true aspects being pointed out about them. When I said, oh, look at it, I just clicked on any number of subscribers and they had virtually no content on their YouTube. Now, some people don't have any content, but they have content as a guest on other people's channels, but they're not even doing that. It's just phenomenal, Great debate community. Obviously, that's Steve's. Defango again. Some of Defango's. Stony Stone. Whoever that is. I can't even remember. I just been going around. Oh, that one can be added. That one can be added. How many more people? Jesse Spots. Red's Rhetoric. We all know who Reds is. And great videos recently from Reds. Awesome stuff. I think it's really, really cool. I think SpaceX is definitely the one to watch. I think NASA's, I think because of political issues, they don't have enough money at the moment. But who knows? Dead Kennedy in Space, Bill Smith, My Not So Secret Diary, again, Defango, Igor Freeman, Unveiling the Mask, believe it or not, Menace to Sobriety is on there. I have to re-look at that video. Because Menace is, a dim-witted fuckwit, but if it's the same one, in my personal opinion. Because he's just an echo chamber for Jason, for the most part. Unveiling the Mask. EM Network, I wonder who that is. Oh yeah, that's me. Sean Hufford. Somebody by the name of Charlotte. Random Rants of Ryan. Voodoo Doll. Thoughts by Jay Brown, another cool guy. Sheriff of YouTube. Scooby Doom. Let me keep scrolling down. A number of them are repeated names, so I'm skipping some of the videos. Bullinator, another cool guy, and yeah, awesome really. Scrolling there. Little Red. Old Mofo. That was a really funny video. Actually, it starts with the "Don't poke the bear" thing. I thought that was real funny. There's one there that's marked private, so I'm gonna delete that one off. See, I do maintain this playlist, by the way. It is very well maintained. And you can't copyright strike a playlist. It's a playlist of videos that are actually, that's a beautiful tool. It's a very good tool. I hope YouTube doesn't take off the playlist tool, because this is needed. There's a few others. I'll leave that there for now. And it will grow more and more. Every single one of these individuals, every one of them are pointing out the same bullshit pattern from Jason. Exactly the same pattern. He creeps into their drama, uses them for views by accusing them of the bullshit that he would do, because he's as fucked up and shitty as any other drama driven, he's worse than that actually, individual on the internet. His own mods have been known to leave him, and he just gathers more mods because of the drama. When people who find him for the first time, and it's probably lasts about a month or 2 weeks, just like the subscribers he buys, it'll last for a short while. He's about to lose 100 subscribers because he bought 100 subscribers. Theoretically, hypothetically, whatever. Yeah. I am not a supporter of cancel culture, but he needs his idiocy cancelled, completely crushed and flattened and eliminated for sure. If he rubbed two brain cells together, it would be very safe for him to just quit what he's doing. This erroneous crap. It's 98 videos long, by the way, the shitpile playlist. And perhaps one day just quit, and one day come back to the internet after a long break and start fresh, maybe. That's one theory. With integrity, an attempt at integrity. I know it's a big stretch in imagination, yeah. An attempt at charity. Yeah, I know, it's probably never going to happen. But the world is full of surprises. However, those surprises in individual cases, they tend to be rare. But they're there if you look for them. I don't know what the word would be, the miracles out there, without being. No, I don't mean that in a religious sense either, or a spiritual sense, but just the old saying, a leopard never changes its spots. Well, I know people can change. Jason would never change unless he absolutely 100% has to, though. Because he just doesn't care. Unless it really, really hurts him. And what will hurt him the most is more and more people realizing his approach is based on bullshit. His level of jealousy of others is phenomenal, and I've never really, I wouldn't say I don't understand jealousy, but I don't have time for. When I see somebody being really successful, I tend to think, oh, well done, kudos. Perhaps they can teach me how to be more successful in that, and I can help them back once I'm successful. They can help me, help them, help me. That's how I think. For the most part, can't remember any time I was jealous of anyone. Hell, even an ex-partner of mine who hooked up with somebody else, I was never really jealous then, because why would I be? Because we broke up anyway, so I was actually happy for her because I know there were a number of reasons why. It's just clash of character, belief set, mindset here and there. But I still loved her. I was also really happy for her that she found somebody who was, an okay guy, and just making them happy. It just, of course, I would have wanted it to continue, but I realise and the critical thinking there that made me realise it would never work anyway because of some, not many, but the differences were fundamental enough for us to say, yeah, we're not going to get along like that, right? That's not me. That's not her. Yeah. People like Jason Smith who just hate that because of the narcissistic personality there. That they always have to be right. It's all about them. It's just phenomenal, that level of shittiness. And I think Steve has a very hard time getting his head around why people do that. And I think he realizes now the accusations where they get it from is themselves because it's what they would do. I was sitting and saying, how do they come up with this? Where do you get this from? It's because it's what they would do, the projection level, yeah. I think he understands that now, but I think some months ago, or just before Christmas, perhaps, last year, he didn't really quite fully get it. Steve's Achilles heel is being so damn transparent. But that goes to show what kind of person he is. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And I understand that. When I look back through my earlier years, even now, sometimes I'm too naive in thinking, oh, this person's trustworthy enough. Let's collaborate with them. You, at that point in time, in that moment, you never dream that person would try to cross you or do anything wrong or try to smear campaign with you or claim you're something that you're not in a bad way or colour you in a bad light. But it happens because people are shit. People are tribalistic, and we have this from our earliest origins. It's in us. Primates do it. You put a bunch of 100 chimps together, and they probably form 4 groups of 25, right? Early. And particularly if one's particularly different, when that person gets excluded because a group will be scared that the differences could hold them back. I don't see that with Steve's people. What he encourages is if you're too different, not too different, because there's no such thing as being too different as long as your differences are not immediately obvious to hold back a group. They're given the charitable perspective, the charity to allow themselves to mingle and express and so on, right? But there are alarm bells to look for, I think, and certain things people say, body language as well. There was a GIF posted on Twitter where the GIF goes, the person's going, well, I'm happy to help. But he's going, no, like that. People actually do that. They nod no when they're telling you something in agreement. Look for it. It's one of the body language tics that usually can't be passed off as just something that is an exception. Of course, in body language you need to look up for clusters of things. Jason does this a lot, like that. And, I occasionally do it. I might have an itchy nose or something or other. But when you're a child, I can remember doing it. I can't remember exactly what I might have said, but children lie because they want to. Sometimes they're scared they might get found out about something and get them into trouble, so they lie. Perhaps to protect another kid who might get in trouble. And they blurt something out, then they go, like that, and the thought processes that come out of my mouth. I told a lie. I don't get found out because they're still scared about what might. Don't want to get into trouble, right? As we get older, we try to hide some of these things, almost unconsciously. So this starts to evolve or a quick. It's usually touching the nose now as it evolves. And you get a double blink and somebody going like that. Because they don't want to see the visual image of the truth. They want to see something that would be an image of something they made up. And it virtually, they're actually expressing it via the actual physical as well as what's going on through the mental as well. It's not always. Again, you need to look at different clusters. Recently, there's been some pictures of Donald Trump doing this. It's defiant. This is not a proud thing, as some people might think. And sometimes it is, the person's cold. They need to warm up. But if someone's trying to correct you and you're doing this, chances are you're not listening. You don't want to, It's protection. You're protecting your torso from physical attack. Again, it's from our earliest origins. It's ingrained into us. And, again, I'm not an expert. You look for clusters of body language tics here and there. I don't know if you notice, I'm doing it now, I tend to be quite expressive in my body language, hands up. But that's not trying to boast, that's a sign of a person who's just genuine and honest. It's when body language collapses down a lot and they're just blurting out certain things, but you might get these occasional tics here and there. Again, you gotta. And they're expressing their extra energy, perhaps by if they're frustrated, but they don't want to. They're doing that. We've seen that a lot. We've seen Jason do this, Kyle do this, other people do this thing exaggeratedly. Because they're lying their ass off, and while they're doing this, chances are their legs are crossed underneath the chair, just underneath them. Right? Because it's the same. Let's pretend to be open and honest up here, but really the crossed arms are really used for the legs instead. That you've got them crossed to protect himself, to psychologically guard yourself. These little tics to look for, and I suggest people do. And I know, and I understand, people don't want to because they don't want to think ill of a person, but those signs are there. Wise up a little bit. Just don't beat yourself up just because you're being judgmental, because it's natural to be judgmental. First impressions last. If someone makes an effort for first impression, then they're more conscious of doing the right thing, I guess. But if they don't care, they just go head on. And what I'm trying to say, it's worth actually watching. I leave it to other people for the most part to judge me, and hopefully I get judged in a good way, and hopefully people constructive criticism as well, point out where I might be wrong, and I'll be willing to take that on. And I'm pleased with individuals who have pointed out, like, oh, this is spot on, response like that. This is some good insight. I've had people say subscribe to me because it's, they like the content. Great. Appreciate that, because it's what I'm here for. I'm trying to be the change I want to see. And one of the changes I want to see is, imagine, like, look at Facebook, look at Twitter. What do they really offer in terms of change that could improve people's interactions over the internet? I don't think they really offer anything. Just slap a platform out there and get people to interact on it. And then tell them, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that. And that's it. That's the be all and end all, it seems, because they're too short-sighted and greedy. What about a platform where you, like I said, you can blog? Some of your articles will be picked out that if I think it's worthy, I'll have a chat with Jerry or Lisa, who's on the team. What do you think of this article? Do you think we should put it on our main blog? Then if there's an agreement, we private message and say, hey, we're always impressed with your article. Would you like it to be posted on the main blog? And we'd do a video shout out or some kind of shout out. Even if you put something out we could attach to an article we've already written, we'd give you credit for that shout out. Help me help you. Training people via platforms to be on the best behavior and rewarding people for that. That's where social networks need to go. I'm not in competition. I'm just a piddly half a grain of sand corner of the internet somewhere online. Again, it's about attempting to formulate quality over quantity, because if you just got bullshit people and thousands of them joining, you don't have a community. People talk about their communities, but what happens when a whole website harnesses the ability for every single member to be part of a whole community right across the whole website? Every user part of something leaning towards leaning away from confirmation bias, leaning away from hate-driven content to smear campaign individuals, leaning away from just blurting stuff out that doesn't back itself up, confirmation bias, right? Leaning towards ability to back things up, linking your sources, linking things in that tell us your sources are, why your sources are credible, and so on. A researcher's platform, and it's miles away from an ideal researcher's platform at the moment, but those are some of the mental approaches, bells and whistles I'm putting into Exploratory Minds. There's file sharing, there's polls. You can post your polls, you can post events. And by the way, you can monetize your profile now. Just fill in your email address and monetize your profile, and a button pops up, tip, to tip the user. They click it, and whatever value you set in your profile, you end up getting paid by somebody else. I think that's a good idea, actually. But yeah, I want to try and put a shop out. I did put a shop up where I had some things like digital things like sound samples and all that that people would buy and download. It's not exactly ideal. I had a project in between this one and an older one that the older one is kind of inspired the current one, but in between there I had this site called Audio Perspectives. It was just a forum really for music and things like that. My mind doesn't stop. There's always something I'm trying. Whether it's going to be that good or not, I don't know. I just try it and see what happens. But like these individuals, these awesome individuals, Steve McRae, Cheshire Vic, Reds Rhetoric, Fight the Flat Earth, Team Skeptic, Mania, Nikki, Sweet Heathen. By the way, all those people have been pissed off by Jason in a space of short few months, whatever. There's other names there as well that escape me at the moment, but they're awesome individuals in their own right, and they're all sub-communities of communities as well that have collaborated together. They haven't gone, oh, I don't like that guy because he's got too many subscribers, therefore I'm going to piss him off and try and get involved with his drama and bring him down. But Jason does. What a piece of shit, really. Just vile individual. And as I said before, he's on the outside looking in. He's jealous there's a little party there. I'm just here doing my thing and been very appreciated by Steve has thanked me for giving him a shout out before on the other channel, and appreciated. Cheshire has shown her appreciation. Sweet Heathen has shown her appreciation of things I've said many months ago, and I appreciate your appreciation. Manya has posted on Twitter, she appreciates me with this. I don't know who it is, but the guy in the GIF reminded me something about it. It reminds me of Defango. I think it's the eyes. The eyes are like genuine look in the eyes. Genuine. Yeah, they gotta look for genuine. It's all in the eyes, as people say. You know, this is a vlog. This is a video blog. And we do more of these on this channel. And, you know, it's this in progress. So I should really put some audio snippets in the audio feed coming from the computer behind me at some time. Perhaps advertise the shop. What was that? This Teespring and there's this Spreadshirt. Spreadshirt was the one, I think. I put the email address in. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It should be really easy to set up, and I think it is, but it just wasn't accepting. I put the PayPal email in and it comes up and says you didn't put your PayPal email in. Maybe it's because the browser I'm using, I've tried a different browser. I'll get there, I'll get around to it, but tell me if you think there's perhaps it's the format of the email. It might not accept some email addresses. I'm not sure. Perhaps it prefers some of the more high level emails like a Google email or a Yahoo email, which I think Yahoo email is not that secure, but it's one of the more popular, you know, names for emails people might think of, I guess. Proton Mail, very good, by the way. Try that. I might swap it around, see what happens with that, to a Proton Mail, because I've got several different email addresses for a number of things that I do anyway, so yeah, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. This is why I do it that way. Peace out, I love you all, and keep up the good work and keep exposing Jason, because he is a pile of shit. And he knows it, by the way. This is why he keeps chasing his tail. He has to keep catching up on the lies, round and round in circles. He's dug his hole too deep now. There's that much fuckery that for him to admit it now would be, yeah, perhaps he thinks, oh, he admits all that now. It'd be a very bad thing to admit to, because there's so much of it. So he has to keep pretending that he's not the asshole that he is, which makes him even more of an asshole. It's your loss, Jason. You fucked up, and you keep digging. You're gonna end any ability for anyone on the internet to see you in a trustworthy light. Right. I am going now. I often do this, say peace out, and then I have to say peace out again and again. Cheers, everyone. Bye bye.